mean, Joss is a great guy, and Zach picked a good person to come in and clean up and finish up for him.
So we all know that Justice League has had a very, very troubled production from the get-go, but some recent news has helped contextualize how troubled it was and what it means going forward, and the role that Zack Snyder and Joss Whedon respectively played in creating Justice League, or the theatrical version that we saw in 2017. So we know the basic story that Zack Snyder was either forced or chose Joss Whedon to take over, and the official story, he was only doing a few reshoots and he wasn't really changing Justice League, but clearly it was dramatically changed from what Zack tried to create, both in terms of dialogue, scenes, editing, and going far beyond reshoots. But recently, Ray Fisher went a little bit beyond that and charged Joss with kind of abusing the cast and crew in various times in various places, and some people have supported him, some people have not, and that's added a kind of new dimension to what happened with Justice League. So hopefully this will be a very non-biased or minimally biased account of what has happened. I won't hide that I'm very pro-Joss and I like a lot of his material, but I'll try to be fair to both sides. So Ray Fisher is charging that Joss was extremely abusive to the cast and crew on Justice League on many occasions, and he was enabled by Geoff Johns and John Berg. Joss has said for his part, no comment. John Berg has denied anything except one particular scene that Ray Fisher was in. And Geoff, as far as I know, has not commented at all on the controversy. But getting into specifics, what is he talking about and why does this matter? We only know officially one particular scene where it does appear some abuse did happen with Gal Gadot. There's this a very odd scene in Justice League, again, the theatrical version, where the Flash is on top of her. It's a very strange, weird scene done for comedy, but we can't see Gal Gadot's face, and it could have just been the way she's positioned, but apparently we now know for a fact that a body double did the scene. She was not comfortable doing it. She hasn't spoken about it, but we can visually see that we can't really get Gal Gadot's face, and it's her body double that's doing the scene, which other times might be considered normal, but obviously this is a weird case. On top of this, and this is where we're getting to allegations, Jason Momoa, Jeremy Irons didn't like how scenes were written and refused to do them. And again, on top of this, that which John Berg admits, Ray Fisher had to do certain scenes, certain lines he didn't want to do. We have the obvious infamous mustache scenes with Superman where Henry Cavill's face looks extremely strange. Steppenwolf's design was changed, and a kind of host of other issues with Justice League. Now, these are still more allegations because we still don't have firm knowledge, but we do have some extra information from Zack Snyder's DOP, Wagner, who goes in that there was a lot of dramatic changes that were made to color, scenes, and editing from what he did with Zack. So the idea that this was just a very minimal touch that Joss did is not true. And on top of this, we do have some history with Joss of having troubled issues with some of the cast and crew, most specifically with Angel in season 4, where Charisma Carpenter, who was playing Cordelia, was written off the show and put in a coma for much of the season, apparently because she got pregnant. Now, she and Joss have spoken and apparently reconciled, but her scenes are extremely weird in season 4, and in season 5 she returned for one episode and was killed off. So there is a history where Joss and the talent he works with have not always been on the best of terms. Added to this, and again I have to be very careful here, on credible information I can say, I can't specify, but I can say that apparently Joss was in a relationship with one MCU actress in terms of the Avengers, a female on the Avengers cast he was involved in, and that may have been part of the background in terms of why he left the MCU, as well as the issues with Justice League. I can't confirm who exactly it is, but apparently there was some kind of personal relationship he was involved in, and that may have added to the stress, or at least helps us understand why this happened with Justice League. And the final factor is that he did do a very weird Wonder Woman script, again in the early 2000s, which has some of the same problematic racial and sexual humor that we find in Justice League. Now, again, I don't think this was the most important issue with Justice League itself, but Joss does have this kind of weird script out there, which he admits has some issues, but he's defended it. So when we all put this together, there is some credibility to what Ray Fisher is saying, but as he now officially has clarified, he can't go into details because he could face a lawsuit either from Joss or from Warner Brothers, and so he has to be very coy about what he can and can't reveal. But we do know some things, that Joss was working on Batgirl. Presumably this was a quid pro quo that he did Justice League to get to Batgirl, but he officially left that project after allegations by his ex-wife came out. Again, we can't confirm that either, but she alleges that he had various relationships with actresses on Buffy, Angel, and other shows. So where we stand is very much a weird set of conflicts going forward with DCEU. I mean, at this point, the Flash movie was supposed to come out. Ben Affleck was supposed to have his Batman movie. So a lot of projects have been stalled, canceled, or been rethought or reconstructed in the wake of 2017 and the Justice League basically debacle. So there's a lot of questions that are being raised here about how far a director can go or should go in sort of creating what he wants with the cast and crew when he takes over a project that has been as troubled as Justice League. I've only tried to be here sticking as closely as I can to the facts of what we definitely know and what we can only say are allegations at this point. Alright, so this has been Conflict in the DCEU since Justice League 2017. Popcult Analyzed. If you like the content, please hit the like button and or subscribe. Popcult Analyzed. Thank you for listening. Please be safe.